While passing a cemetery, it's often said that one should hold their breath. Whether this is done as a way to avoid angering the spirits or to keep from breathing in the phantoms that haunt the graves, the reasoning is lost to time. But if you live near a certain London cemetery in 1965, ghosts hitching a ride home with you may have been the least of your worries. In the span of a few short months, reports of strange and paranormal events flooded the local newspapers. Chilling apparitions, mysterious figures moving amongst the mausoleums, and disembodied human and animal corpses were among just a few of the terrifying tales that made the headlines. These occurrences would draw in two of the area's most prominent paranormal investigators. Both had their own suspicions of what was at the heart of all the gruesome and seemingly sinister activity. The two men would form a rivalry over how exactly to deal with the entity, which would last decades and even produce a challenge to a duel of magical combat. This case file, join the theorists as they bring garlic necklaces back into fashion with the Highgate Vampire.
Anytime.
Fucker. God damn it.
Anytime.
Yeah, I got my desk all set up. I fucking found my 1988 Raphael. He's on my desk now. I added it.
Look like you cleaned up the garage there too a bit.
Oh yeah, it's great. I fucking mopped it. I got one of those food regulation barrels, sliced the top off of it, scrubbed it out. So now I got my own cold tub here too now. Lake's getting a little too warm. Yeah, I'm set.
Lake's 3.5 degrees.
I know, but I doubled my time today, so I feel like I'm going. It's too much.
Getting you too used to it.
Yeah. Okay, we have a problem.
Nice.
Fantastic.
I'm like way too loud. Maybe I just pulled this. Like I'm seeing spikes like I've never seen on this right now.
Adjust your box.
I can't touch that thing. I'm not touching it.
Just the gain knob.
One knob.
Which one is that? There's fucking 5 of them.
They say gain. And there's 2 of them. Say gain or volume.
Main,
the one.
There's mixer main, headphones.
The one that lights up when you talk into it.
There's 1 and 2.
Yo. Nothing lights up.
Oh wait.
Yeah, there's a 1 and 2.
Which one are you plugged into? 1 or 2?
Box.
Probably 1.
Oh, 1.
Yeah, just turn the one.
So turn 1 down.
Turn 1 down.
Oh, okay.
Turn the 1 down a bit.
Okay. 2 notches.
How's that?
That looks better. That's better.
Sounds good.
Better.
All right.
Why did it change all of a sudden?
You might just bumped it while you're fucking setting it back up. Probably.
Oh, maybe.
Because they're not very. They don't have a lot of resistance. I don't.
Yeah.
Okay, this is case file 274.
270. Out.
All right. Here we go.
Wow. Okay.
Welcome to Alien Theorists Theorizing, case file 274, with your hosts, Zell, Dan, and Andrew. You may be asking yourself, where's the first theorist? Always putting himself first, always putting himself at the top of the poll. Well, he's dead.
You may be asking yourself, why is ATT so sexy today?
You might be asking yourself, why are my ears bleeding right now? It's quite simple.
Why are we looking so good? Because we shred about fucking 235 pounds. That's why.
Right before the show. Good. Shed 235. Now, Braden's taking the week off to celebrate and support his wife in the birth of their first child, Roman. Congratulations to Braden and Jamie. There's only one left. Only Dan's left now. Dan's got to have a whoopsie here. And
buddy, I'm telling you, I've seen pictures of Thailand. I've seen probably about 65 little kids running on the beach.
Might be a few Dans like in Thailand.
All right.
Anyways, this case file we're talking about something close home to me. A tale of the Highgate Vampire. A personal friend.
I mean, if Zell were to have an anonymous vampire name, the Highgate Vampire would definitely probably be it. Like this, it's appropriate. You know, if we all didn't know that Zell was recharging in his coffin in Romania around this time, then we probably suspect 100% that this was probably Zell.
The vampires actually brought hash and cannabis around the world in the early days.
Little known
the first
fact.
traders.
Smokers to hash.
Jimmy, how do you back that up?
He was there.
I was there.
I mean,
take my word for it.
There.
Were you there, Dan? Didn't think so.
The events surrounding this case take place, kind of in modern times. We've talked about vampire panics before.
Smoking your relatives for safe passage.
Eating the ashes of your dead relatives and whatever, and getting nuts.
Excuse to burn your wife at the stake just because she's annoying.
Yeah, we've had that. But this one actually took place during around 1965, where there were reports of some suspicious paranormal activity in and around what is known as Highgate Cemetery. Now,
that's the thing that, like, when we talk about this case, the fact that this took place in the fucking late 60s, early 70s gets lost on me every time, because everything we talk about, I'm like, oh yeah, this is like fucking 1842 for sure.
It feels like
no,
1600s.
This is like our parents were alive. His parents were.
This
on
is just
this
a generation ago.
planet when
Yes. It seems like it should be 200 years ago, but no.
So Highgate Cemetery is an older cemetery in the areas of London, England, and the original cemetery was established in 1838, and so it does have a number of prominent permanent denizens. You have a lot of writers, artists, philosophers. Some of the more notable guests are the German philosopher Karl Marx.
Ooh.
And also Douglas Adams, author of one of my, probably everybody, if you're into sci-fi, favorite books, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which if you haven't read yet, you should read it.
One of the interesting things I was reading about this is, like, one of the original reasons why they created the cemetery is, like, obviously, like, they needed space, but this basically came across as like an overflow cemetery. Like, they're fucking, all their cemeteries in towns are completely fucking full. They've got nowhere else to go. So we got to basically build an overflow parking lot right over here.
Stick them in
on
Highgate.
the most inconvenient fucking terrain possible. And one of the best parts about this fucking space is that it floods regularly. So apparently the reservoirs, like people that would get their water from, it would be regularly contaminated by fucking body parts that would wash away.
Oh my God.
From the cemetery.
Oh, so it would flood. All the sediment would fall out like through a sinkhole.
You're just getting people soup.
Yeah, dude. And like here's another thing. There's approximately 170,000 corpses in this fucking cemetery.
Do they keep stacking them up?
Probably.
Oh, well, there's only 53,000 graves and 170 estimated bodies, and they suspect that.
Yeah, but some of them are like mausoleums and stuff, and like family. I think there's probably more than one. Like Zell said, there's probably like more than one and stuff in there.
Yeah, but 53,000 and 170,000 bodies, and that's the only the ones they know about.
They're bunking them up, stacking them.
Yeah.
That's fucking gross.
Yeah, and like, I mean, when they built it, it was kind of like nice for the time, but now when we're talking about it in the 60s, like, it's completely in despair. It's got fucking overgrown trees that create a shadow 24/7. The tombs and everything are covered in crawling trees and ivy and stuff. Like, this place,
it's ominous.
It is a quintessential spooky cemetery,
exactly.
and so much so that in the 1970s it was a place that was very popular to shoot horror movies. You had like the Taste the Blood of Dracula from 1970. They shot some Tales from the Crypt, I believe, episodes from there, and From Beyond the Grave in 1974, which all featured footage from that taken at that location. So In 1965, some locals who lived around Highgate actually started reporting like an unusual amount of sightings of something, of apparitions and strange goings on and noises that seemed to be localized around the eastern section of the cemetery. And often it was like around that time there were two certain figures that kind of kept popping up or seemed to be the ones that were most identified or could be described by people who had seen them. So one was an elderly woman with long white hair that seemed to be drifting among the graves. And this one came with a little bit of lore that it was the spirit of a woman who was searching for the graves of her murdered children.
Oh, it's Eleanor. Personal friend.
And the other ghost, if that one wasn't creepy enough, was a skeletal figure that would stand by the main gate and like stare at people as they walk by, or like kind of just like spook people, I guess, as you do as a skeleton. I'm sure, like,
Is a skeleton like just skeleton with those eyes that don't move, but when you move, they seem like they're following you.
Yeah, just the empty, dark sockets.
No matter where you look, it's always looking right at you.
I wonder if it's like the fucking curmudgeon Skeletor that just like shakes his bony fist at the
it's your next time, He-Man. So around this time, you had these rumors circulating also that there were occult rituals being performed within and on the grounds of the cemetery and among its gravestones and its many, like we mentioned before, mausoleums. And there's another type of a grave, and I can't remember what the name of it is right now. But like, yeah, so you have like these, you have plenty of mausoleums and stuff. So family graves and all these things. Like,
dude, let's pull up the Google images because this place is fucking ridiculous,
spooky.
Like, yeah, no wonder they use it for movies. It's the quintessential.
It's like 100%, yeah,
right.
It's 100% spooky.
Oh
like,
yeah,
and like the craftsmanship of these fucking mausoleums is fucking top notch too.
And these pictures, if these are recent pictures, like this is it, like cleaned up.
Yeah,
like I'm sure, like some of these are like. Yeah, some of these are probably have been maintained.
Just look at that. Look at this one. We're looking at. It's like it's a tunnel all overgrown. Yeah. It looks like some ancient.
That's a gate to the abyss.
It looks like something from Indiana Jones or something.
If you needed a quick way to get to the underworld, like right there, this is where I would put you.
Who built this house in the fucking
Satan?
There's a concept house of just a house sitting in the cemetery.
What? Who would want to live there? Is it the groundskeeper's house or something?
I don't know. It's a nice looking house.
So now in 1963, you had these two 16-year-old girls who were walking home at night after having visited friends in Highgate Village, so in like the local area. And so on their way back from there,
well, I'll tell you what, right off the bat, I know the story is legit, not exaggerated at all, because it's two 16-year-old girls.
Exactly.
Rock solid.
That's yeah.
It's the most reliable demographic.
And so their route took them down Swain's Lane, which apparently runs past the front of the cemetery.
Swain's Lane.
And so as they were walking past this, past the gate, like there seemed to be coming like a ghostly fog that kind of seemed to kind of sweep over the area. And through the fog, like as they were able to see through it and they got closer kind of to the graveyard, they described like bodies that they could see rising from the graves of some of the places.
Like zombie style, like their fucking hands popping out, or like they're actually climbing out.
They said bodies appeared to be emerging from the two. So zombie style, probably like kind of lifting up out of the ground and stuff like that. Yeah, I would assume. Yeah, zombie style sounds about right. Now, so you had this report kind of circulating around as well. And then just like weeks later, you would have you'd have a couple that were walking down Swain's Lane as well. And the lady described glimpsing something hideous behind the gate's iron railings. Like and her fiance kind of corroborate the stories that he saw it as well, and that they both stood there staring at something that it was like a face, like some kind of terrifying, like a terrifying visage behind the iron gate that was just like frozen and absolute, just the purest horror that you could possibly think about. And they just like, it just completely absorbed them. Like they could just stare at it, and it just sent, cold chills down their spine. And they just remember staring at this thing for what seemed like minutes.
It was like a fucking Lord of Hell or something.
Something like that, So the Highgate Cemetery has had books written about it. Like several books have been written about it, and one of the books is titled "Written in Blood: A Cultural History of the British Vampire" by one Paul Adams, and he actually wrote about one Brian Bourne who is walking near the cemetery on a July evening in 1965 around 8 p.m. He was walking his dog after attending a party, and as he passed the western gate of the cemetery, Bourne said he felt a sudden chill of unnatural stillness. And Bourne said that he saw some type of black liquid substance that seemed to flow down one of the cemetery walls. And then from that oozing black puddle, a tall masculine figure and shape just seemed to materialize out of it. And then he said this figure appeared to look almost like a man, like a tall man wearing dark clothes. But then he also noticed that it had two glowing red eyes.
Another Prince of Hell.
Was he wearing a hat?
And Bourne's dog, Bourne described like his dog entered into a state of distress, started growling at this apparition of what he was seeing, and Bourne took off. Like, that was enough for him. He just ran from that thing.
That like feeling you just described, everyone listening got that same feeling. Like that little shiver up your spine, because you can picture it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like this is something that you would see in in a modern vampire movie or something like that. Probably a typical method of locomotion for vampires would be to materialize out of some black shadowy substance, moving through things. If they're, when you're not a flock of bats or whatever, you're not a swarm of bats.
It's a misconception.
I'd see that black puddle just dripping. I'd see the drip.
Dan, you're right.
I wouldn't take my chance.
It's not bats. We can materialize pretty much out of anything.
Puddles, terrifying.
Bats that's an easy thing to just like to picture. Like, you turned into bats, you flew away, but you could be anything. In this case, some black.
Same methods of
venom-like
too,
substance.
Right? You don't have to
symbiote.
You can sleep like that.
Symbiote.
Venom appeared in this fucking cemetery.
No, that wasn't venom. This guy's wait. Venom would be cool. And you need a
Venom would be cool. You'd be cracking jokes.
You'd be coming on me, and I would be. We would be Venom.
So shortly after this experience that was described by Brian Bourne, there were discoveries made of actual animal carcasses that had been seemingly drained of blood and dismembered in certain states of dismemberment. Discovered around
news articles.
Cemetery. Yeah.
Yeah, there's literally so mostly these were foxes, right, Dan? Like, and they literally had like titles being like, "What the fuck is happening to these foxes?" And they're fine. Like, all of them seem to have died in some type of traumatic manner, and they had been exsanguinated, which is fucking nuts. It's terrifying.
Oh, so it's their version of the Rutland cat killer, but it's the Highgate fox killer.
Worse. Yeah, it's way worse. Fox, it's worse.
Now, if this wasn't interesting enough, now you have some personalities entering into the Highgate arena.
Well, yeah,
so
any
personality,
dude, any place like this attracts the best of the best in the supernatural world.
That's true. Just as everybody's favorite ghost hunter, Zach Baggins, is inevitably drawn to a place of paranormal activation, so as those are drawn to places like Highgate Cemetery. Now, the first person to kind of enter onto the scene is a man named Sean Manchester, and he claimed that he was a priest ordained by the Celtic Catholic Church, which he described as not related to the Vatican.
So its own branch of Catholicism.
Yes.
Not pedos.
Right. They don't do the pedo stuff.
Yeah, they're not.
And then another kind of strange claim that he made is that he's also a descendant of Lord Byron, from Lord Byron's, I guess, a romantic tryst with a servant. So perhaps an illegitimate heir to the Byron name. Zero proof.
Zero proof.
Zero not proof.
That's true. Ancestry.ca at this point in time, but you got something we got to know about this guy. Like, Google a picture of this guy. This guy's got he's got the best sideburns I've ever seen.
Sure.
He's like the rock and roll bishop. The guy's a badass. He's here to fucking like preach sermons and crack skulls.
It's true.
And we're all out of sermons. This guy's a badass, dude.
That's
right?
the fucking
He's
best.
fucking awesome.
Here he is. This guy's a fucking one of a kind, man. Where is he? Here he is. Look at this guy. What's the
That's
best?
a fucking G, man.
I mean,
this picture.
Mop of hair.
Who's the guy on the right?
Oh, we're gonna talk about him. No spoilers yet.
They go together. They go together. Like,
that's the other guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
didn't see a picture.
They go together like fucking fire and gasoline here.
Yeah.
Like the epic battle, which we will get to. But fucking Manchester. This guy, he dresses like some type of bishop. He wears the garb like that. He's got the hat, got the cross.
I think that was the.
They dress like fucking wizards, okay? Catholic priests, the bishops, they dress like fucking wizards.
I mean, like, in the basis sense, like, aren't priests wizards?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, or clerics. I mean, clerics, but clerics have spells too.
Like the archbishop, which has like the huge, like the headdress almost and the staff.
Yeah, that's super wizard stuff.
I mean, like in the sense that they both like read books and do imaginary things and claim it to be real.
No, this guy doesn't. This guy has a lot of spells.
Okay, totally.
He's level 15, I believe.
Level 15 wizard.
Yeah,
for sure. He's clerics. He could be a cleric and have wizard spells. Like,
it's true. Clerics do know the spells.
So now, from the available testimonies and the descriptions of what was going on, Manchester came to the conclusion, and he was pretty certain about this because he made the statement to the local newspapers, being, "quote It became appallingly apparent that the people of Highgate were not witnessing a harmless, earthbound apparition, but
a vampire.
Not only is it this isn't no regular vampire either.
No, not just a regular vampire.
A high lord.
Oh, yeah.
Manchester actually claimed that this figure was in fact a king vampire.
Right? It's regal.
Right. And how do you become a king vampire? You had to be a medieval black magician who had practiced magic in Wallachia, the hometown of one Count Vlad Dracula. And then
good guy.
And apparently this vampire had been buried in Highgate Cemetery, and now his body had been resurrected by modern Satanists, and his demonic form now stalked the graveyard in the darkness of night.
No foxes are safe.
No foxes are safe. He's eating all the foxes. Well, he has to get his power back.
I mean, like Voldemort, right? He just starts small.
Start small.
Next thing you know, he's feasting on a fucking unicorn.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, Avada Kedavra, everyone's fucked.
It's true. He doesn't have access to modern day vampirism, which is making friends with paramedics and nurses, and every time they take blood, they give you a little.
Don't lump me into this.
I didn't say your name. I didn't say your name. I'm just saying he's not part of the modern vampirism, which is you don't actually have to attack anyone. People willingly give their blood all day long. All day. It's easy.
I mean, for people to use for blood transfusion.
Well, you leave a little bit. You don't take it all. It's a harmonious relationship.
It's a symbiotic relationship. Exactly. As opposed to a parasitic one of classic vampires.
You don't have to kill anyone. You don't have to do any work. So he's missing out on that.
You need somebody that's got like, what is it, hemochromatosis or whatever, when you got high iron levels and you have to give blood regularly.
Oh, he's your best friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's your buddy.
Perfect.
Now, it's said in 1969, Manchester actually crossed paths with Elizabeth Woljila, who was actually which was one of the two teenage girls.
It's like an anime thing.
Woljila. I mean, if that last name doesn't, say a person who saw dead rising from the grave, like I don't know what else does. Because like that's the name of a person I would expect to see zombies or be associated with some sort of paranormal activity. But she was apparently one of the girls.
They named the fucking knockoff Ouija boards after the fucking Wojila boards, right?
Yeah. Discontinued. Very rare. You can only find them in certain pawn shops.
They didn't take off.
No. And so her story also gets a little kind of strange because apparently after she had her experience, it's reported that she began to experience nightmares like regularly, and then she dreamed that some type of entity with like an emaciated appearance and this just malevolent dark presence had been trying to break into her bedroom. And after like
just some homeless skinny guy, you got any food? Let me in. I'm emaciated.
And it was also described that she had started to become like a bit like less vital than she had been before she had her experience. Like she started to become like people were describing her as being very pale and gaunt. Starting to kind of like lose weight and gaunt.
She's been vamped.
So what happens? You don't sleep. She's not sleeping. She's got nightmares.
She told Manchester about these nightmares, and then apparently she also began sleepwalking at some point, and then would experience these spells of dizziness and nausea and even headaches at some point.
Do you know where she sleepwalked to, Dan? Any guesses? Zell?
I know, but I'm not going to tell you.
She would regularly sleepwalk. And Manchester decided to stake out one night and fucking follow her. And where did he follow her to? The Highgate Cemetery.
Highgate Cemetery.
She would go and she would stand in front of the largest tomb at the Highgate Cemetery.
She's been vamped. I told you.
Highgate Cemetery. I'm telling you, boys.
She's been hypnotized by the vamp.
He gave her a crucifix to wear to protect her in her sleep. What did she do when she got to the tomb? She tore it off.
She's been vamped. Doesn't work. Vamped. That's a myth.
That's it. Well.
Yeah. So this is, this is very, I mean, if people even remember, this is very Mina Harkin. Is it Mina Harkin?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Like, it is very, classic Dracula. You read the story, like this is 100% what happened. If assuming Dracula is a documentary. And so, apparently, according to her boyfriend, who was named Keith, she said that they had put her under a doctor's care and that it had been like pretty much like the doctor had ordered changes in her diet. And
she's sleepwalking because they gave her a fucking lobotomy. Now she's just wandering around because she's brain dead.
Well, I mean, it doesn't seem like the procedures that he recommended were that drastic. It was mostly like just changes in her diet.
Leached. That's why she's gone.
Well, they gave her vitamins and stuff.
Wait, sorry, Dan. This is the 70s. They're not leaching people anymore.
No, not anymore.
We're talking about that time.
Yeah, we're not
leaching people.
Still, I'm pretty sure people got lobotomies in the 70s still.
I think we looked it up on a previous case file, and it was like late 60s or early 70s was the last performed lobotomy, which is fucking insane. Let's just drill a hole into your head, maybe take a piece of your brain.
1967.
There you go. That's fucking wild.
And so Manchester would then, like after this, like these treatments didn't seem to be working. She still seemed to be kind of, still losing her vitality. Manchester would give her another silver cross and then would, hang a crucifix and garlic in her bedroom, which is very much, I mean, he's probably flipped through Dracula. He's like, this is the best thing to do right here. We all know this, silver, garlic.
Garlic's going to work. Yeah. Okay.
He even gave her apparently a linen necklace that was filled with salt and sprinkled with holy water. And then
she's seasoning herself.
Yeah.
This is
Tee
literally
yourself up.
This is literally Mina Harker. You're 100% right.
Salt and garlic.
I feel like this is Bram Stoker's Dracula.
But unlike Mina Harker, who ends up turning into a vampire, Wolchdila would go ahead. She would recover fully after these precautions and after
she got some sleep.
Manchester engaged Keith, and they said some prayers. Some prayers to against the evil spirits of the night. She regained her health, apparently, after this.
So what Van Helsing's problem was, he was never a bishop. We need a bishop.
No. He's not bishop of the Celtic Catholic Church, and he was not a descendant of Lord Byron. But this wasn't the only person that was, Manchester was not the only
vampire hunter
person brave enough to engage the forces of darkness that seemed to be inhabiting Highgate Cemetery.
Enter David Ferrand, paranormal investigator, Wiccan, and demon slayer
of the highest accord. Just before we get to him, though, we got to take a short beer break. We're going to be right back.
Okay.
And we're back.
Just in case you missed Braden, I thought I'd just give you a taste of it.
Yeah.
We're back.
We're back. There we go. Is that better? Yeah.
Man, it's like he never left.
Yeah.
We turned up all our mics just in case.
Yeah. So anyway, where do we leave? We left off on Sir David Ferrand.
Mm-hmm.
Another highly touted demon hunter of the ancient order.
Wiccan, paranormal investigator, vampire slayer. So he kind of what do you want to say, Dan? He kind of started paying attention to all the news articles. He was into the occult, got excited, started interviewing a lot of the people that were coming forward with these supposed encounters, right? And he decided, wise, well, he's, man of mystery, this guy, paranormal investigatory journalist, decides to spend the night in Highgate Cemetery.
Wise thing to do.
Right, I would say that. Right, because initially, I'm pretty sure he was convinced that this was actually just pranksters or just BS. He thought maybe a large animal that was killing all these foxes, whatever, but he did not subscribe to the fact that there was any type of entity or vampire invading the Highgate Cemetery. So he kind of went on record saying like he confirmed what we were saying. Like at this time, the cemetery was in complete despair, right? Everything was falling apart. Everything looked like shit. There was literally like tombs wide open. And when you go and look, there were corpses outside of the caskets. Yeah, like people removed them completely.
Body parts.
Lying around.
Yep.
One of the tombs actually was like, they went inside and the casket was completely burnt. He found one with a stake through its heart. So obviously there's been some fucking weird ass shit. He confirms that he saw all the foxes that had been exsanguinated, all that type of stuff. So again, he goes, checks it all out. And while he's checking out, he says, you know what? The only way to know for sure is if I spend the night here. And when I do spend the night here, it's going to have to be on December 21st, the winter solstice. Because what is it? When the winter solstice is like when the veil's thin on the worldly plane and the spiritual plane are very thin.
Isn't the longest day though? Like when winter solstice is the longest day, or
it's the shortest day in the northern hemisphere.
Oh, okay. So then, longest. You'd have the longest night.
So
that would go hand in hand with the shortest day.
It must have been fucking freezing, like December.
That London humid, cold December. Oh yeah.
I bet it'd be fucking suck.
Yeah,
all right.
But not if you're a demon hunter. You don't get cold.
No. You tough it out, man. They're different breed. Yeah. So when we talk about David
Paranormal investigator,
self-proclaimed magician.
Yeah. So just around midnight, while he was camping out in Highgate Cemetery, he saw a 7-foot tall creature with glowing red eyes. His feet were levitating off the ground and he was gliding between headstones. David reports feeling as if his life force was being drained from him. All of a sudden, he started reciting Kabbalistic prayer to ward off evil, and the figure vanished. David then wrote to the local newspaper, the Ham and High. It's short for, I don't know what it's, the Ham.
It's like the Hampstead and something.
And the Highgate. Hampstead and Highgate. So he wrote a letter and it got published in the local newspaper, basically asking, it was like a wanted ad, like, have you experienced anything weird at the Highgate Cemetery? If you have, please get in touch with me. And the weirdest parts about this is the fact that the most common sighting that everybody's having is that one that kind of Dan described that David saw too, is that large, tall, ghostly figure with burning red eyes and a large black hat. And like I mentioned before, David Frant. Now I go back and I'm looking at my notes and stuff. So one of the things that's used to describe him is self-proclaimed magician. And now I realize, I'm like, is this guy like, he's doing like card tricks? I'm like, no. There's a distinction, because I feel like if they were writing this article and they were describing him as a self-proclaimed magician, he's not doing card tricks. He's not doing sawing women in half, right? That's an illusionist, right? A magician, it would be like an actual sorcerer. So he was like claiming that probably that he had some type of, magical powers of some sort, like specific about it. It's just, but yeah. So, I get serious Job. I get Job vibes from him. Job all the way. Yeah.
Illusions, Michael. So he does come from, he kind of has a legit paranormal background. He did help establish the British Psychic and Occult Society, the BPOS, right?
Legit to quit.
And so, contrary to what Manchester was saying, that this entity was some type of king vampire that had taken up residence within Highgate Cemetery, Farrant, on the other hand, believed that Highgate Cemetery was the home to just not a vampire, but some other type of supernatural entity. That something was there, but it wasn't a vampire, right? And so now you have these two, I guess, larger than life personalities. You have Manchester over here and you've got Farron on the other side. And then pretty much having these dueling narratives about dueling theories about what's going on within this cemetery. And then also they're trying to figure out, exactly how they're going to deal with it. And these two developed a rivalry between each other.
A supernatural monster hunter rivalry. The best kind out there. The best rivalry known to the world of sports.
Yeah. And I mean, like a rivalry to the point where they were writing insults to each other in the press. Like they were issuing I imagine they're issuing cutting wrestling promos on in the fucking press, in the local newspapers, and talking so much shit about each other, about how fucking the other's whack ass.
Sean Manchester is a sissy. Yeah. No, but so there's a lot to this, because apparently Sean Winchester came out and was devoutly against the British government's decision to repeal the Witchcraft Act of 1951, and the Farrant was a Wiccan. A practicing Wiccan.
And we talked about this. We talked about this stuff in the other one.
You said Winchester, but it's Manchester.
Manchester.
The Winchesters would be disappointed in both of these.
Yeah, and if people remember back to the Battersea Poltergeist, witchcraft was still kind of illegal. It was still very much on the books law. Yeah, it's still on books law of witchcraft being illegal.
So you have a lot of friction, because you have the Wiccan witch spiritual crowd, and then you have fucking Bible thumping bishop,
but not the Vatican kind, a different kind, not the diddler kind,
the other kind.
Yeah, this is like some warlocks versus paladin bullshit.
And then so some of those, it was hilarious, but for the local newspaper, Farrant claimed that in order to banish this vampire, he was going to sacrifice a cat.
Nobody likes that. It's that's automatically puts everybody against you.
It's not a fox, the fuck? It's not a fox.
So he said that, and then Sean Manchester went on the newspaper the next week or whatever, and was like, the only reason he's sacrificing a cat is in order to raise a demon to destroy me. Has nothing to do with him wanting to banish.
Blood magic. Sacrifices blood magic.
Right?
Yep.
Right.
Boys, listen, we're talking Dumbledore versus fucking Grindelwald here. Like these guys are about to fucking we're culminating.
They hated each other. Like,
yeah, man.
They're about to throw down on a magical standoff.
It is really impressive to me about like how much these two really hated each other based on just their two different theories about what was going on and how to deal with the supernatural entity that had seemingly is now occupying Highgate Cemetery, like how to get rid of it, and like them just kind of throwing down and being like,
could you imagine if they teamed up, right? Because you could be like abracadabra, Jesus, case closed. I guess not Jesus because it's bishops. You know what I mean? Like just, right?
So their rivalry would go on and pretty much like reach like a climax around Friday the 13th of February 1970, as Thames TV ran an actual live TV program about the saga unfolding between these two, where they had scheduled an actual hunt for this vampire. Right, they had announced it and they had like hyped it up for like a couple of weeks. Apparently,
get rid of Highgate of the vamp, the light or the dark? You be the judge.
February 13th, vampires, blood sucking chaos.
Friday.
Blood magic versus the light. You be the judge.
But listen, like the entire city's there. Everybody's pumped on this. There is a school teacher named Mr.
Amazing.
Blood. Awesome fucking name. He brought his students to watch this.
That's the coolest teacher ever. Fuck, man. That's amazing.
Right? Like this is like, they got a crowd. Everybody's out here to watch this shit.
Who shall expel the demons first?
And you had plenty of spectators, but you had many participants as well, because apparently within hours of the broadcast starting or like getting there, you had dozens of, I'm picturing a lot of 1970s edgelords loaded up for vampire hunting. So you got dudes.
Listen, I'm off work in half an hour. I'm going to go home. I'm going to grab my steak. I'm gonna grab my bandolier steaks. I'm gonna get my necklace of my holy water balloons, and I'm gonna be ready to fucking roll. You know, and it's just like, yeah. Apparently they arrived from all corners of London. Like they just came down to the Highgate Cemetery. And the police had actually set up a cordon to like, because this was an event that was getting a little bit out of hand, and they knew there's something was going to happen. But these people just busted right through because there's so many of them just like going through. Everybody's super eager to hunt down this king vampire that was terrorizing the people of Highgate. So awesome. Brooks was there. He's from England, I think.
And so like, this all happened in like February. So this was pretty much like this is probably the highest point of the entire thing, like the most popularized point of the Highgate Vampire. So after this, like nobody caught anything, apparently. Like nothing.
There's too many people watching. The vamp didn't come out to play.
Right. It's smart enough to be like, I'm gonna stay off the streets, right? And I'm gonna stay, locked away in my
100%.
My mausoleum, my mausoleum fort underground somewhere, But so things would kind of be, for most of the rest of that winter, and then, going into spring, things wouldn't pop back up until, late summer of August 1970, where there apparently one of these events was two schoolgirls actually stumbled across what was the remains of a 100-year-old corpse of a woman who had been, just by, when they got there investigators took a look, it seemed that she had been dragged from her coffin, decapitated, and then staked through the heart, and then left in the middle of a pathway, like a well-used pathway within the cemetery itself.
And all the other vampires unnoticed. So you stake them in the heart, and then you're supposed to cut their head off with the fucking shovel, right?
With an iron blade.
Yeah, like that.
I thought it was a shovel. Like fucking.
What was the other burial thing? They used to nail them through the mouth. Like you put like an iron spike in like
they've
their
tried
mouth.
a lot of stuff over the years.
Officially, you nail them in the mouth, right? You fucking nail them in the mouth, and you piss on them. You can't come back.
I don't know if that's one.
That's how you do it.
A lot of people have been trying over the years a whole bunch of different stuff. Let me tell you something. None of it really works.
Can't keep a good vamp down.
Can't.
No.
They're immortal. You're gonna nail a vamp through the heart. It's gonna play dead. You're gonna bury it, or whatever, and then it's gonna fucking get up, pull the thing out, and off it goes.
Nail.
It's fine. It's gonna Beatrix Kiddo out of that grave. Fucking dig out of there. Boom.
And now you're on his blacklist. And now you're gonna be hunted for the rest of your life. So you should just stay away. Okay.
And also that same month, apparently, Ferrant and other members of his the B posse, the B posse, I guess you could call them, the British paranormal. This is the British Psychic and Occult Society, the B posse. Apparently, they entered the cemetery and they walked to the site of where that initial sighting had been of the liquid black ooze. Vampire that emerged, or shadowy liquid, whatever you want to call it. And they apparently they went through a whole ritual of making a whole big show of this, where they drew their large circle upon the ground, which they sealed with their protective symbols, which they then dispensed around it salt and holy water, took all the necessary precautions, and then even built a second circle, which was, that's where you put your candles and your incense. And then,
circles.
And this is where Ferrant and his B posse, this is where they were intending to capture, to summon, and then contain the demonic entity, because they were still not quite sure that it was, again, he was saying that it wasn't a vampire, it was something else. The Ferrant squad was being like, this is not a vampire, it's something else, or maybe something similar to a vampire, but not exactly a vampire, because he's probably like, fuck that Manchester guy, it's not a vampire, fuck him. And so they had set up this elaborate summoning ritual in order to capture it. And pretty much as soon as they finished and started the seance in order to summon this creature, this entity, the cops busted in.
5-0! Grab your holy water! Gotta go! Yeah.
They're like, fuck this, right? Witchcraft's still illegal, assholes.
It has nothing to do with witchcraft. This is fucking England. They're using way too much salt.
That's true.
That's precious.
It's not bland enough. There's too much flavor in these circles. Get rid of them. Sweep them up.
So they all, the B posse, like they split up. They grabbed all their stuff, as much as they could. They grabbed all their supplies and everything.
Let's scramble.
But unfortunately for Ferrant, he was caught and arrested, and they arrested him on the charges of, I think it was desecration was one of them. At least desecration, I think, was one of them. Maybe dismemberment.
He doesn't work very fast. I don't think he would get very far.
And so, again, for another couple of years, like everything was kind of quiet, and then the entire thing would seem to come to an end in 1973, where Manchester made the final claim that he himself personally had driven a stake through the heart of the vampire, and that it was officially dead and or banished for the foreseeable future. And that he definitely, like you touched on this guy earlier, this guy's got a flair for the theatrics. Like, this guy, his book, outrageous. Like, he's a great storyteller. I mean, he might have borrowed a few things from old Bram, but like fucking,
he puts a good spin on it.
So basically, this is the way he describes it. He says, so Sean and his associates claim to have found the tomb of the vampire. Same tomb that he followed that girl to that was sleepwalking. Okay. All right. Got it. In the tomb was an ornate black coffin with a horribly emaciated corpse. Spelling's not great. Emaciated corpse inside. That they
totally not a vampire. That's not where a vampire is sleep. That's crazy.
Just as Manchester went to drive a stake through the heart of this the vampire, his colleague stopped him and reminded him that this would be desecration of a corpse. We can't do this. We shouldn't do this.
No.
Okay. So they decided in turn to seal up this tomb brick by brick, and leave crucifixes, garlic, the whole fucking shebang in there.
Case
and
and
leave. Now, unfortunately, this didn't stop the evil for long. The locals were still being preyed upon. They found an escaped mental patient that was found in the cemetery covered in blood.
What?
Yeah.
What?
This was in the ham and high as well. Corpses were going missing.
Somebody's high, I'm for sure.
Corpses were going missing from the graveyard. So bad that some guy went to go fucking hop in his car and drive to work one day, and he found a corpse behind the steering wheel of his car.
Oh, what the fuck? That's some Ghostbusters shit.
Right?
What the fuck?
Okay.
That's insane.
So
It's the best.
Sean decided to return to the graveyard with his associates and fucking seal the deal for sure this time. He's like, can't take chances.
I'm sorry. We have to go back to the corpse behind the wheel. So it's like somebody
Corpse
like
behind
took
the wheel,
the
baby.
corpse and got it in, took the time to put it inside the car. And like, I imagine like they like put the hands like
on the steering wheel. Obviously.
Maybe they have
Just
to.
like-
Maybe they just animated the corpse. The corpse did it himself.
Yeah.
Or herself.
Sure.
Or itself.
I mean,
So anyways,
amazing.
all this shit's going down. Sean decides we got to go back. I guess I got to run the risk. Maybe I'll go to jail. I got to take care of this thing. I got to fucking do it.
Got
This
it.
guy's,
You gotta do what you gotta do. And
Right.
wins vampire.
he put a corpse in my fucking car. All right, we're done with
Yeah,
this.
I'd
guy.
be pissed.
He's toast. Anyways, so they go off to the same tomb.
I'm gonna be late to work today. There's a corpse behind the fucking my car.
Yeah, man, I'd be shook. You could never drive that car again. But when they got to said tomb, that black ornate coffin was gone.
Oh my God.
Right.
The Renfield came and
Gone.
got it.
Sean then hunted the vampire every day for 3 years. Turns out he was in an abandoned mansion next to the cemetery. They found the ornate black coffin in the basement, and that's where he did the deal. He did the deed.
Oh, he stalked him into the
Abandoned
mansion.
I mean, an abandoned mansion.
He's an
near a
aristocrat.
cemetery.
He was
I get, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
Right.
he's an aristocratic vampire. You can't
Vamps
go
like to
stay
live
in a
style.
warehouse.
We like to live in style.
I guess you can't put your coffin inside like a warehouse or like someone's basement or something. No, it's got to be an abandoned mansion next to a cemetery. Like that makes sense. Yeah.
Somehow you have to find the abandoned mansion next to a cemetery. It's a hard hard combo to find.
Listen, you want to know how he solved this? He probably had to call the mystery gang because they would have, the first place they would have went to is the abandoned mansion next to the cemetery. They would have known.
Right away.
100%. Right away.
Right away.
So also in 1973, while this is all going down, like still the rivalry between these two powerful, vampire hunters / magicians was still going on, and they decided to
building,
culminating
to one epic moment.
Come to a boiling point.
to a publicly announced magical duel.
We will have a duel.
We don't know
That
what
was
a magical duel means, but we are going to present it to the public.
Which was to occur on top of Parliament Hill,
That's amazing.
Hampstead, and so everybody. I bet everybody was super psyched for this. Was ready to go.
Fucking nerds
They were selling
fucking
tickets.
in front of
They're going to be
everybody.
hurling. It's going to be fucking rad, dude. There's going to be like dark energies and lightning bolts and fireballs being slung around. It's going to be amazing.
Instead,
I bet
it's
people were
literally
super
going to look
excited.
like those fucking nerds that LARP. And hit each
It'd
other
probably
with
be
foam
like
swords.
that might have happened. Yes,
It was turning
I
into a
would love to do
LARPing.
that,
It was turning
by the
into a
way.
LARPing incident. Is what was happening.
Every
either
time-
of the.
I would love to LARP.
In my mind, either of those scenarios are equally possible. But the battle was apparently called off,
The battle.
and so they.
This is not a fitting venue for a magical duel.
And so the pair kind of decided to kind of dedicate their energies more towards writing and publishing articles in the local newspapers, still hurling insults and barbs at each other
They didn't want to expose the extent of their magical abilities to the public. They wanted to keep that secret to themselves.
So, unfortunately for David Ferrand, he ended up doing 3 years for desecrating corpses.
Whoops.
Oh yeah,
this is 3
like
years.
he got some like there's some weird shit. Like
he was getting street cred.
naked. Like I'm talking like no, we're talking like necrophilia.
Like human corpses.
Oh yeah, like
not
he
even
was like
not dead foxes, human corpses.
They had pictures of him like buck ass naked in the cemetery next to the corpses and stuff like that. And then supposedly in true Job fashion, he stood up in crowd and was like, I am too powerful for you to condemn me to jail. I will fire my lawyer and self-represent. And he did so. And then he ended up going to jail.
He fired his lawyer. He was going to get 6 months and he got 3 years.
And
but like Dan said, this rivalry, like it was still strong.
And extended for years.
Well, look at on your Facebook group. This is David Ferrand's current fucking project. All right. And it is the greatest thing in the fucking world. The name of it is Bishop Bonkers.
Bishop Bonkers.
Yeah. And he makes a little fucking cartoon. He makes cartoons about fucking Sean Manchester. And then Sean Manchester in turn does like paintings of fucking David Ferrand, the demon. And you can see it on his blog as well.
The New Adventures of Bishop Bonkers.
That legit.
Damned infernal hoagie has nicked our turkey.
Wow. It's like a different language. It's like it's like
and
what?
Appears to have died accidentally, of course. That's the comic.
This is the comic he made. Bishop Bonkers is supposed to be Sean Manchester.
UFOs, Satan, Ferrand.
It's fucking so stupid.
All right. Interesting.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Nice 3-panel comics right here.
Yeah, and throughout this rivalry, like even Manchester founded his own like opposite, I guess, counter organization, the British Occult Society. So you had the British Psychic and Occult Society, which Ferrand had presided over, and then Manchester founded the British Occult Society. So they both had their own little gangs of followers and hangers on, I suppose. And Ferrand apparently even ran for office at some point, and he was the sole candidate for the Wicca Workers Party in 1978, which apparently advocated they advocated for things like nudity, free sex, and the restoration. I don't think that wasn't written in there. That might have been implied, but that was not written in there. I don't think it was in there. They also
you don't have to pay them if they're dead, right? Is that how it goes?
No, you have to pay. Well, you have to pay the entry fee for the corpse.
No, it goes like this because it's like they advocated for the restoration of the Wiccan Creed and also the establishment of state brothels. So I guess the state would pay for.
Okay,
these.
That's fair.
And then they were and just to be on the safe side, I guess they also wanted to outlaw communism and also leaving the EU common market. So just to
eventually they got that in the end.
They got that.
They got that in the end.
Yeah, it's like this is. I find it amazing that these two had the energy to really keep this rivalry going for just decades. Apparently, like they would just keep doing this like incredibly petty shit. The Bishop Bonkers thing, the other publishing books, publishing articles and everything. There was probably like an editorial, probably like every couple months from either one, probably calling each other out and all of this stuff. All the way up until Ferrand's death in April of 2019. Like R.I.P. Absolutely. I'm in awe of him. How petty these guys can be. Like
he's still haunting Sean Winchester or Manchester for sure.
He can only hope. Like it's just, that can't get rid of this poltergeist. No. I imagine he's on his deathbed and he's like, "I'll get you. I got you now, you pussy ass bitch." So as far as we know, the Highgate Vampire, according to solely pretty much Manchester, he dispatched a vampire. Was it the Highgate Vampire? Not sure. But you could have something like something as incredible as two, I mean, these guys are like they're magicians, sorcerers, I suppose.
Sorcerer supremes, I believe.
Yeah, Wiccans, what are they, like a druid? Maybe I don't know. I classify them maybe as like a druid. Like a druidish shapeshifter, no? Druidic. They are, but they're like nature powered, It's like they're both. I put them in that kind of category. They can all be
connected, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, you could probably. They're probably
we probably have some Wiccan or Druid listeners who are going to get mad at us. So if you, there's
probably some important. I'm sure there's some important.
Don't cast spells on us. It wasn't our fault.
Sorry.
We don't know.
I'm sorry.
We didn't know.
I'm cool. I'm cool with establishing a Wicca workers party and advocating for nudity and free sex.
Free sex.
I'm already bald and short. Brothels. Okay, I have it bad enough.
I'm not so much about outlawing communism. I don't know about outlawing communism. You could toss that out. I'm not really, whatever. I'm not really worried about the EU common market. It doesn't
really exist here. But
all the other stuff is pretty good in my book. So cool. Wicca Workers Party 2024.
When's the next election? I don't know.
Yeah. This case was just really fun, like a really fun one to kind of look up, because it's not every day that you have like two personalities as outstandingly strange.
It devolved from a vampire, prospected vampire in a cemetery to just two demon hunters duking it out for public.
It's like, and you had a legit vampire panic in the 1960s. I mean, this probably topped on with the satanic panic around then.
Well, satanic panic was in the 80s, was it not?
There was a satanic panic back then too, I'm pretty sure.
That's every
like the true
decades.
Satanic panic, probably brought on by like D&D and role playing games, was in the 80s, I believe. But there's been satanic panics throughout history, and they come and go in waves. We just had a recent. We've had a recent one.
We just had you're right, because that Michelle Remembers or whatever, right? That book by that Canadian author.
I don't read.
Yeah. No, we talked about that one.
Yeah. So satanic panics, they come in waves. They come and go from different versions throughout history. We just had our own personal one just over the last few years here. Really, there's been different ones. They come and go. They bring on a lot of panic, a lot of mass hysteria.
Yeah, but where are our magicians? Where are
our people summoning a public duel at Parliament Hill?
Where are people drawing their crazy? They're not crazy, but we're drawing their summoning circles and all of these things.
Yeah, Trump.
Where the fuck are our guys challenged? How come our politicians aren't brave enough to call each other out in magical duels anymore?
There should be debate and then public magical duel. Those should be the two options for election.
I want to see fucking gloves being removed and slapped upon the other fucking.
I demand satisfaction. God. Throwing the gauntlet down on the ground, just like, let's go. There's
so much more cooler shit we could be doing with elections.
Proficiency in magic should be a
high
should be a qualification for politicians. It should.
Well, that's how we should elect them. There should be no election. They should fucking duel it out. See who wins. And if you don't win, you die. It's better that way, because
there's got to be some kind of democratic process, or else we'll just be ruled over by wizard warlords.
There'll be a referee.
There'll be a referee. I don't need I don't need to live in a post-apocalyptic.
There'll be a wizard ref,
dominated
so you can't actually
society.
kill the combatants. They can't kill each other. Avada Kedavra will be outlawed on this wizard duel.
That's fair. Yeah. Cruciatus curse too.
So there is cooler options for elections, and I hope that we see them both in Canada, the States, and England in this case.
Yeah. Well, if anybody runs with that platform, I'm voting for them.
I mean, 100%. I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
Bring it back. Bring back black magic, blood magic.
Bring back Wicca Workers Party.
Come on.
Yep.
I can put that on a t-shirt.
State-sponsored brothels.
Somebody put that. Never mind. That's a t-shirt idea. Trademark,
copyright.
It's ours now.
March 20th. Whenever we're recording this, fuck whatever.
Yeah,
it's a
fucking rad. It's a rad case. This is just nuts. It's just like, I like having two people. I imagine it was a really fun time to be like just reading the newspapers, and you're just like, what's Manchester in front up to today? It's like, fucking I cast a curse on this asshole. And like, neat.
For literally 40 years until like 2019 when he died. They were going back and forth.
I feel like this is like, man, I kind of sometimes, everybody has like internet blogs and stuff like that. Like everybody's got like an internet blog and all this kind of stuff. And I kind of miss the days of like local newspapers where you could have shit like this. You could have this shit unfolding and it's just like, this is all you're really getting. Yeah, everybody's reading the newspaper and you're like, holy, like a weekly newspaper, like to see how the Ferrant Manchester magical duel is shaping up. Like, and you're just like, oh wow, like neat.
Yeah, now all cool. You have is like local rant and raves on Facebook.
Yeah, it's just like that's what it is. Yeah, whatever, just like local junkie news or something. Got
a lot of that.
Locally. So, I don't know.
It's a cool case. It was definitely fun to look into. And I hope we get something similar, some type of wizard duel in the future. Maybe I can challenge someone for local government. I'll start with local government.
I wouldn't run against you.
Call them out for sure.
Who's the current mayor of Kelowna?
Just call your local newspaper and get it.
Hey, Tommy Dias. I'm coming for you. Coming for you. Local.
Call your local newspaper
wizard duel
and get that article so we can clip it out. So we can get local
I have
music
a pretty
producer
good
calls
connection.
out Tommy Diaz for magical duel.
I know one of the authors for Kelowna Castanet News, our local news channel.
Do it
really well. And I bet you I could convince him to write an article about this because he's written some ridiculous articles over the years. But hey man,
fucking do it.
You want to write something funny? He'd probably go, yes, I do.
Do it.
What do you got for me? Local wizard and half vampire, eternal vampire, Zalarius challenges Tom Dias for a duel for ownership and stewardship of Kelowna City Council.
We might have to dip into some podcast funds to fund a full page magical duel challenge.
We used to have a Jedi.
Oh, we did have a local Jedi.
We had a local Jedi.
Yep.
He's quite powerful.
Make Kelowna weird again.
Absolutely. Wow, it's pretty fucking
weird.
It's literally like
but like in the good way.
In a fun way. In a magical fun way. I agree.
Yeah, in the magical fun way. Yeah,
that's 100%. Cool. Anyways, fun case. If you haven't looked it up, there's a lot out there. There's a lot on it. It was a big deal there in the early 70s. So, all right, this week's theory of the week. You got to give it up. You got to give it up. He may not hear his name be read for maybe ever.
Yeah, that's fair.
Maybe ever.
Hopefully ever, because he's going to grow up in shame if he ever listens.
If he ever listens to the podcast, he'll grow up in shame. But Roman Alec Renner is this week's theorite of the week for being born healthy and alive. Bonus. Is Andrew frozen?
Yes, he
Fuck. Is. We did so well.
We almost made it.
We almost fucking made it tonight. Oh shit. Well, but he's frozen. So yeah, theory of the week is Braden and Jamie's beautiful baby boy, the first. I bet you it's the first of their family, actually. So the parents will be quite happy to have their first grandchild. So we wish them the best. Braden will be joining the show next week. Maybe he'll take one more week off. Who knows? But he'll be back in no time at all. All right, and if you're not supporting the show already, why not? Why not? I mean,
not even support us. Look, okay, we're like giving you
trade
stuff. Like it's not like you're just supporting us. Like it's even an unequal trade because you can give us like, for just like $5, $5, you get a whole bunch of stuff. And probably one of the best things that we don't say enough is that we do have a Discord server. We have a Discord server that is a direct line to us. So if you want to hit us up with something, you want to like message us, you want to talk with other theorites and stuff, and like our whole little community in there, which is actually pretty fucking awesome. Like there's a bunch of
we're the least cool people on that group.
This is true.
Yes, this is true.
This is true.
All of the super fun people who are on there, we got a great little community that we built over the years there, and fun people to talk with and whatever. Talk about anything. You want to talk about aliens, talk about conspiracies, talk about all that stuff. You can do that, and you have a direct line to us. You want to get on there and tell us, you want to say nice things to us? Great. You want to tell us that we suck? Sure, whatever.
We take it. It's a direct line to some equally like-minded weirdos over there on Discord. You also get
and weird in the fun way, like we mentioned before. Weird in the fun way.
weird fun.
But yeah, if you want access to that and much more, extra case files, confidentials, a whole bunch of other super neat stuff.
Or if you just like listening to the main case file, you're like, that's all I got time for. And you hate the ads. It's an ad-free show. You get it early, week early. That's the trade. That is the trade. $5 a month. We'd appreciate it. And then we also read your beautiful names live on the podcast.
Yes,
this week's
say them wrong.
And we say most of them quite wrong, actually.
Yeah.
This week's news supporters, Dan, start us off.
We have Fernando Rosales, Owen, and Andre, Michael Rutledge, Grimlock. Grimlock.
He's ready for a magical duel.
Yeah. Grimlock, leader of the Dinobots. Mick. It's Mick.
Mick.
You're a bum rock. Like that, Mick? Yeah.
Maybe.
Could be. Andrew, do you have the notes up? Andrew's frozen again.
We have Dan. Tactical platypus or plateus. It could be platypus. It's probably supposed to be platypus. We might have misspelled it.
That's fine.
That's pretty good too.
I copy pasted.
I think I've seen tactical platypus in our Discord server. So there we have ape underwater, spelled with 3s.
I like those 3s instead of the E's. Yeah.
We have Sabertooth Tyler. That's a good name. Sabertooth Tyler.
Fuck yeah.
That's fantastic. I love it. Drummer from Stokey J. Drummer from Fat Lip.
Legend.
A plug for his band, Fat Lip, Aussie band.
They're a fucking punk rock cover band from England somewhere, I believe.
England.
Awesome.
England and Australia are the same place. We know because Australia doesn't exist.
I think they're both fake, actually.
They're both fake. Said they're islands. Yeah, right. Nobody's ever been there. Nobody's ever really been there. You got Brandon Muncie, Bear Country, Nathan Sauer, Magus Magoo.
We got Braxton Kidd. We got Noel, or is it Noel? I don't know. Solid Lib, Moon Bear, Spaceman Spiff, and Jefferson Schlosser. Thank you very much for supporting the show. We fucking appreciate it. Braden?
Right here.
And as we always say, keep those eyes on the skies. Seen after hours.